How's everybody doing this evening? It is daggum pouring rain, pouring rain here tonight. Um, like I should, I filled my pool up a few days ago, and I definitely shouldn't have because goodness, it's overflowing at this point. It's getting rough. They've issued a flood advisory for our area here. Um, I mean, luckily we live on a hill. As you can see, look, I'm wet from trying to get out to the studio. It's daggum pouring rain outside. But what are we talking about? What everybody does it, right? What is it? It's the miss, and the best thing you can do. What's going on, Tyke? To avoid missing a deer, want to start with is pick up a rifle from Deep Roots Rifle Company. Elevated excellence rooted in integrity and reliability. You can use the link in the description to get over to their website and order just about everything you'll need to get into the woods this fall, from a fully custom rifle built in-house to flashlights to help you find your way in the dark. Be sure to tell them UPO sent you. They got some custom rifles over there, absolutely fantastic. Scopes, you name it. But tonight, we're going to do things a little different. A little different than we've done in the past. For the first time ever, I'm going to have a guest on here. And I guess when we initially started this, that was kind of the idea that we were going to have guests here in some form or fashion, right? But that never panned out. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to make a phone call here real quick. We're going to bring in Mr. AJ to talk about a deer he just missed. And I'm going to tell some deer missing stories, and he's got plenty of deer missing stories. So we're going to trade some stories about missing deer. Let me make a phone call real quick, see if we can get him on here.
Hello.
All right, Mr. Moran. I've got you in here, piped in through the soundboard so everybody can hear some deer missing stories.
All right.
So I'm gonna. I know you're the most fresh off, and I've got to think about this today, man. I said, as I was writing the intro to this or some of the description of this, I think you've missed more deer recently than most. You missed about one a year.
Yeah. I missed one. I miss at least one every single year.
But trying to think back to the first deer that I ever missed, which I mean, I guess is probably the first deer I ever shot at, and it's not. I mean, I nicked him, I grazed him with a 30-30, and that was see, I was had to be probably 9 years old, and that was Dad saying the scope was on, and then come to find out the scope was definitely not on. That was a bit rough there. And I missed low on him at probably 40 yards, 30 or 40 yards. But let me hear how this all went down Saturday morning.
Throughout the whole week, I got this nice. I want to say he's an 8, maybe 9. But that's the biggest buck I've ever seen here in North Carolina. And I got him on camera every morning. I'd be at work. It'd be like 7:30. I'm like, man, if I didn't have to work. But I was like, Saturday morning, that's my day. So I got up about 4:30 Saturday morning, got dressed. It was 34 degrees. Nice, cool morning. So I drove out to the piece of property I hunt, got all set up, got up in my climber. I was sitting there. And it was about 7 o'clock. I could hear something walking across the field. So I perked up in my climber and I sat there and I started looking. It's like, oh, there's about 4 or 5 deer coming. Because that's where they come. Come from the field. They walk all the way down to my feeder. And so I was sitting there and I seen him. He was just outside 30 yards, but I couldn't shoot him because the way I was sitting in my climber, there's a tree branch in the way. Something spooked him, all of them. So he walked into the woods And then he walked all the way around, probably 15, 20 yards. And then then he came straight out in front of my feeder.
Was he
And he
was
was
he
standing.
with those? You say he was with those other bucks he's been with all week?
He was. But when I don't know what happened. I don't know if they just got spooked by something or what it was, but they just kind of like trotted off into the woods. And I never seen any of the other deer after that, except for that one big buck. And he came out right in front of the feeder because they got a little deer trail that they cut through the woods and around and come right. I call it, it's like a little bowl in the field. It's surrounded by woods on all three sides. And he came out right in front of me at 30 yards. He's just standing there munching. No, I take it back. It wasn't 30 yards, it's 20 yards from my feeder. And he's just standing there munching. And I'm stood up and I'm full draw. And I'm like,
Shaking like
it's,
a shaking like a dog trying to shit a peach pit.
yeah, I mean, boy, my whole knee, I felt like I was going to fall off that tree stand again. I'm shaking. I'm like,
Wait a
damn,
minute, wait a
sorry.
minute. Again? You fell out of that tree stand before?
No, I thought I was going to.
Oh, okay.
Uh, when I killed that big 13 up in Kentucky, I thought I was going to fall out of my tree then because I was shaking so hard. And it was at this point, it's about 7:20. It's still not like first light. It's within that first 30 minutes of before shooting light.
Yeah.
And I can see, but I can't see. And I'm like, I can see my top pin, which my top pin is 20 yards. And I'm like, I can see. So I mean, I reared that thing back, and I'm full draw, and I'm looking at him, and he looked right at me, and I let it go, and I heard it hit the bush, and I was like, and he didn't run. He just kind of like jerked his head a little bit, looked around, and just kind of walked off. And then he was at 30 yards, and I was like, should I? Should I not? I just let him walk.
So you had another shot at 30 yards and you didn't take it.
I did, but I was just,
No,
I'm, I,
I don't disagree with that move, especially after you think you just had the right shot on there, and then you don't know. Believe me, and I'll tell a story about how you want to at that point make sure the bow is still zeroed, right? The issue is not that you've knocked your sight around and your sight is off, and then you're gonna just end up missing again. At that point, he really had no idea where you were, what happened. I think you probably had it to your advantage that it wasn't quite full daylight yet.
yep.
Um,
Because I mean, he didn't make a sound. He didn't jump, move, run, nothing. And I seen him, and I was like, maybe did I hit him? And he just didn't realize what happened because I'm at 20 yards. I don't know. And so I was like, all right. But I watched him, and he walked, and then I seen him off in the distance standing in the soybean field, because to my left of where I'm hunting is the soybean field. And I watched him over there with a doe, and then I didn't see him again, and I didn't hear nothing. And I gave it 45 minutes to an hour. Then I was like, all right. At this point, I'm just like, I don't know. I, I was trying to just replay the whole scenario over in my head. Like, what? Did I hit him or did I not? So
this
I
is
climbed down. I climbed down, and I walked over, and I found my arrow. Luckily, it was in the dirt. There wasn't a single piece of meat, fur, no blood, nothing. And I was like, 20 yards.
so. Do you think you just misjudged the distance?
And I know it's 20 yards because I went again this morning, and I didn't see nothing this morning, but I was up in my stand, and I read. I'm having a brain fart.
Got the
I
rangefinder out.
I pulled it back out, and I lazed it, and I was like, all right, it's 20 yards. I'm not crazy, because I've been up there multiple times, and I know, like, hey, my feeder's 20 yards. I got a tree over here just to my right. That's 30 yards. And and then there's another camera on a tree, and that's 35. If he's anything past that, I know I can't shoot that way. So I got my left and rights, and I've got them pretty memorized. So I was like, all right, 20 yards. If they come out in that pile right there by my feeder. But
So
when I come back up there and I was looking, the way the arrow, I think I shot over him. I think he might have jumped the string.
that's
I,
possible. Who
I
knows? There's a
and
whole. I mean, especially with it being that kind of that a little dark like that, um, which is kind of along the lines why I've thought about going back to shooting a illuminated knock so that I can see the arrow a little better.
yeah,
But also, I don't know, shooting longbow with illuminated knocks just feels weird. I've seen guys take and put it's just like a fluffy white ring that goes behind the feathers on a trad bow that allows you to see that arrow in flight a little better. Maybe I'll do something like that. I don't know. But being able to see that arrow and where it goes after you release is always a good thing. But that's tough.
yeah. And I was just so in the moment. So I was like, daggone. And then I came home and I just fiddled around and I contemplated this all day. I was like, dude, I just screwed up. I was like, this is the biggest deer I've ever seen here. This thing's never gonna come back. I went and grabbed my bow, took some of the broadheads off, put some field points on there, went to my target, and just I was like, maybe the safe goblins messed up the sight on my bow, maybe. So I went out there and I shot it 4 or 5 times, dead on the money. It was totally my fault.
You know, I had a very similar scenario, and it's something that's important for listeners to understand too. You're talking about hunting on private land there in North Carolina, but you're not on a giant piece. You're on what, 2 acres?
Yeah, it's about a 2 acre piece. Most
Just
of it's field, but there's a little section of woods where I'm at, and
you just happen to be where they slip through, and you got two or three good bucks on camera there. But he's a good one. I'll have to grab one of your trail cam photos and throw that up, especially the fact that he showed up on trail camera after you shot at him.
yeah,
Again,
he did show up. He did
um,
show up last night. There's all three of them. In fact, we're still. And matter of fact, right before you called, my phone started, and he's out there right now eating one.
that's sorry, dog. Well, I mean, it's the positive things you have is that he's still with those other bucks, which tells you it's not the rut yet. Because they shouldn't be hanging out together if it was. So you may still get him to slip up during the rut here coming in soon. And you got does that slip through there, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So you may get him in the later on. Like I said though, you might want to go out there and hang you a daggum. Make a licking branch in a mock scrape and see if you can't get him coming hitting it pretty regular. I'd give it a shot. Something to drag him right back to that area. But I've made that similar type. This is probably the most I've missed a deer in a single hunt. Um, I was hunting on a small piece of permission in Tennessee. I say small piece. It's like 84 acres, and four of us hunted on it. And we had a lock on set up that's probably 25, 30 feet off the ground. It was up there quite a ways up in this tree, and it was tucked in there good and hidden. I never got busted in that stand. Even that day that I missed, it's a nice 11 point that came out. And he was chasing a doe. It was in the early season. He was milling around, chasing a couple does around. And the first shot I missed him was at 30 yards. I shot over his back. And then I missed him at 35 yards, shot underneath him, and then shot underneath him again at 40 yards, and then I was out of broadheads. Let's see, Dangleberry says, a wise man once said something like, good shooters will eventually miss, but the best shooters will too. They just aren't worried as much. They're too occupied applying the fundamentals to miss. Yeah, you're going to miss deer, period. It's not, like I said, in this thing, it's not a matter of when or if, it's a matter of when. Even if you haven't missed a deer yet, it's going to happen. Like I said, the first one I missed, I was young. Um, the second one I missed, I don't know if you count it as a miss. I never even shot at it. And this is what kind of has me, to this day, still hating against the three-way safety. I had a nice buck come in. I said I had to be probably 12 or 13 years old. A nice buck come in at about 30 yards, and I was hunting with a Ruger M77 Hawkeye. I had a rifle, and that's got a three position safety. So middle, all the way back locks the bolt closed. Middle leaves the gun on safe, but you can still work the action, and then forward is fire. Well, that buck came in, buck fever took over, and I flipped the safety the wrong direction. The gun wouldn't go off. I thought it wasn't loaded, and I'm telling my dad, "You didn't load the gun." And then no, I just flipped the safety the wrong way, and the deer took off. So I never shot at that one. Get miss, whatever. And buck fever got the best of me. But that 11 point, I missed him so many three times in the same hunt in a matter of 20 minutes, and he never left. I mean, even after that third shot, he still hung around. But I was out of broadheads, and I was like, man, it's got to be the bow. The bow's got to be off. And I went back that afternoon, set it up underneath the street light at the house there, and shot it 30 yards, dead on. 30, 40, 50, still dead on in the target. So best I could tell with that one was that I was using a rangefinder that didn't have angle compensation, and I wasn't shooting at the proper range for the height that I was shooting from. So when it comes to shooting a bow at that steep of an angle, that angle compensation, it's going to be different than line of sight versus what you're actually shooting. So I guess that's kind of important to have that. But and then there's the famous deer, the monster that I missed on Campbell coming up here. And the next couple weeks will be about 10 years, probably. Right around 10 years I missed that deer 10 years ago, 10, 11 years ago at 30 yards. And I shot right over his back. And best I can tell from looking back and overthinking over that scenario again and again and again and again is that I just clipped a tree limb. And that arrow leveled out, went right over top of his back. He didn't duck. I know that for sure. He didn't duck the string. Maybe I used the wrong pin, but I'm almost positive I didn't. It was only a 30-yard shot, so that would have been my second pin down. So, and I had arranged that the log that he was standing next to prior to him coming out. That's pretty common practice of mine to get up in the tree stand and start ranging different landmarks out in front of me to figure out how far they are if a deer stands in this hole or that hole, so that I'm not trying to range at the last minute. But that one still haunts me to this day. Just like I know this one will haunt you. Hopefully you'll get some redemption later on this year and be able to make a difference and kill that deer. Yeah. But how about that? How about that one you missed with the shotgun?
Yeah, I don't even know what happened with that. I mean, I was just using, my duck hunting shotgun. I don't remember what choke I had in there. I think I just threw a choke in there, and I was just like, well, I don't have anything else. I don't really want to bow hunt. I think were we in a shotgun only?
But we had to be, because I was hunting with a muzzleloader, and everybody else was hunting with a shotgun. So we were hunting shotgun areas on the base at that time. And so you brought your shotgun out. I want to think that was 50 or 51 that we were in.
Yeah. And I typically don't hunt with a shotgun. I normally bow hunt. And then then I just kind of bow hunt through muzzleloader. And then when it's rifle season, then I start rifle hunting. But so I didn't take it out. I didn't shoot it. I didn't see how far I could shoot it or anything like that. I was like, well, I'll be all right. Yeah. Lo and behold, that doe come out about 30 yards. I shot at it.
Shooting Foster slugs, right? Like rifled slugs?
Yeah. Clean missed it.
Not once, but twice. Yeah.
I let out two good shots at it, and I missed it both times.
Oh man, I remember that. I'm sitting there and I hear boom, boom, and I went, "Oh crap! I think AJ missed."
I mean, I don't know, man. The thing about it is, like, this whole season, like, I prepared myself. I've been every day. I go out, when I come home from work, I be grabbing my bow, and I literally will shoot for an hour every day after work. I was like, I'm not going to be lazy this year. I'm going to prepare myself. and still missed.
Yeah, you're doing the right thing though by practicing, and that's a big thing people got to take away from all this is practice, 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 practice. But even all the practice, you can't plan for everything, and you still may screw up. At this point, AJ, I'd be trying to practice from an elevated position, see if that makes any difference.
Yeah,
It,
I have been. I have been a little bit.
whether you just climb up on the roof of the house and stand up there and shoot.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I think I was just so excited, and it's like this big buck, and I was like, man, I've never the whole time I've lived in Carolina my whole life, and I was like, I've never seen a buck that big in the woods,
He's a
and I
good
was
buck.
just like, I was just tickled, and I mean, I was shaking hard.
I'd be willing to bet he's Pope and Young, which I think is only 125 inches. He's a good buck, a damn good buck.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah,
I'd be tickled pink to shoot him. Like I said, son, how much is that non-resident license? I'm about to come up there and hunt that 2 acres with you.
yeah. I got a buddy stand sitting right beside mine where my kids sit with me when I take them. You can just sit in that.
I could make a 20-yard shot. Of course, you thought you could make a 20-yard shot too. And we see how that panned out.
I mean, I thought I could make plenty of 20-yard shot. I mean, speaking of missing deer, I mean, it was probably 3 years ago with this because I miss one every year. I was sitting at my other piece of property that I hunted. It was 26 acres. I had a nice doe come out. It's 20 yards. I'm sitting up there with a 30-06. Boom! I look over. The damn tree branch fell to the ground because I smoked the tree branch.
I remember. So the first year we hunted that piece in Tennessee, the reason we were searching for a piece of private property was so that we could hunt with a rifle. Because I was hunting with my buddy Tristan, who at that point had never killed a deer. And I was like, man, we'll make it easier on you so we can find a place we can hunt with a rifle because it's easier to kill deer with a rifle than it is to kill deer with a bow. You get a little more range. Accuracy is easier to achieve with a rifle than it is with a bow. And we got out there, and I want to say he shot at a doe at like 75 yards or so. How many points was the branch you smoked? Dingleberry wants to know.
I don't even know. I
um,
mean, it was, I don't know, it was good. Half-inch branch.
uh, but Tristan shot at a doe, and I hear boom, boom, boom. I'm like, dang, he done missed again. And I get down and I walk her. It's like, this gun ain't sighted in. I missed that deer, blah, blah, blah. And it really wasn't that far. It might even not have been, it might not have even been 80 yards, but I said, let me see that rifle. And we had an old trash pile set up there, and I grabbed a bean can and set it up like just like an empty can of beans and set it up on top of something down in that trash pile. And I free-handed it at like 100 yards and nailed that bean can. I said, your rifle's fine. You just suck. But it happens. Buck fever gets the best of everybody. You get to shaking, you get excited, and you just don't. That's why that practice is so important, especially with a bow. You build that muscle memory, the repeatability of, you're going to take aim, how you're going to do every single step of that shot and the follow through to go with it. So that when it comes down to when nerves get the best of you, you still have the ability to maintain and do what you need to do to make that shot happen. But you can't guarantee a dang thing.
Nope.
And you're shooting expandable broadheads too, right? You're not shooting fixed broadheads, so it's not a tuning issue.
No, yeah, I'm shooting VIP broadheads.
Yeah. And you've killed a couple deer with those, haven't you?
I have killed that big 13 pointer in Kentucky, and I killed a doe up there in Kentucky.
Yeah.
So
Well,
same arrows, same bow, same broadheads.
yeah. Shooting a Hoyt, so I mean, people will blame you for a Hoyt or over a Matthews or whatever, but who knows at this point. Well, hopefully you have some better luck coming around here in the next weekend. We had the first real cold front of the year come in this weekend, at least up there where you're at. Down here, it's still 80 degrees, but it's
Yeah, we had
supposed
our
to.
first.
it's supposed to drop down into the high 40s this coming weekend for me down here. So hopefully we'll be able to get out this coming weekend. I got a family hunt and take the kids out. And hopefully I'll be able to get something, put some meat in the freezer. So we'll see how it goes after Halloween. But I don't know. We shall see. The season is still young. There's still what? When's your season end?
January 1st.
Okay, so you got another 2 months
Yeah,
to make something
got
happen.
starts in September, so I mean we got a pretty good decent season. So
When does uh when does when does your rut typically kick in? Do you have any idea?
Veterans Day week, that
Oh, so
week of
you're coming
Veterans.
up. You're coming up here shortly. Next couple of weeks. Yeah, I'd get out there and get you a licking branch hung. Did you get them minerals out you were talking about putting out?
See, I did. I put that salt block out there because typically what they like, but lo and behold, man, I think it's just because it was new, and I probably shouldn't have put it out there when I did because they were real skittish of it. They didn't want to go eat.
Yeah.
They didn't go around it. I mean, I'd have them on camera, but they were at a distance. And so that Saturday, that morning, I went out there and I was like, I just went and grabbed that thing and I just put it in the back of my truck and moved it, and they started coming back. So I think I'm gonna do that. Probably do that again next year, or earlier in the season before it starts, not when it's already started.
Well, hopefully you have better luck coming in. When's rifle season start? You gonna be able to rifle hunt that property? Or you just gonna stick to your bow?
I can rifle hunt it, and that starts the week of Thanksgiving.
Oh, so you got another month before that kicks in.
Yeah, muzzleloader kicks off right before the rut, so in a couple weeks, muzzleloader comes in. So
You gonna get you a muzzleloader?
I want to, but I just hadn't bought one yet. I think for this year, I'm just gonna stick with my bow until rifle season.
Understandable.
No,
Don't just stick to it. Keep it happen. Keep trying to make it happen. You might get lucky here in the next couple of weeks. Who knows?
I hope so. I'm just glad he came back. That's what relieved me yesterday and settled me a little bit because I mean I was tore up. I mean I texted you right after. I was like, man, I got a Will story now.
Yeah, Will story. We all have one at some point or another. Old Dangleberry coming in here commenting. He just missed his first shot at a deer, which we'll give him that. And it was moving. So it is what it is. He missed that shot at about 40 yards. Best we can tell. I mean, I couldn't find hair or blood or meat or anything where that deer went into the woods, but that was a nice 8 point. Good buck for Florida. I'd have been tickled pink with shooting it. But hopefully we'll be able to get back out there, maybe win a redraw hunt in that area we were in, and get back out on that same spot and shoot him. He says he gave that buck something to think about. Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, shooting at it with a muzzleloader at 40 yards. I mean, yeah, shit happens, man. You can't. You can practice and practice and practice and practice and practice, but you can't fit every scenario you're gonna run into in the woods into that practice range. That's why I say, I like to practice with my bow. You find yourself a lot of times in a climber where you're not making the ideal shot. You can't position your feet around, so I'll stand there and turn backwards and shoot with a bow. Yeah, he gave you plenty to think about. I'm sure he did. Uh, but just try to think of different shot angles, different shot opportunities. Whether if you're gonna be sitting on the ground or try and shoot from a seated position, shoot from a kneeling position, shoot leaning forward around something. This is all with a bow. A little easier to do with a rifle, but there's just so many scenarios. You got to try and think of everything you could possibly do. Don't try to split the gap, shooting between trees. That never works out. That's how you end up shooting a tree. But I tried to do that on that Daytona 55, shoot between trees or something. I left a nice brass insert with a 200 grain field point stuck in a tree out there at the Daytona 55 archery range. So if you go walking down that would be the not the bow hunter lane, but the 3D range. One of those lanes has a nice brass insert sticking out of it. Um, it is what it is, man. I mean, You're going to win some and you're going to lose some. The point is, you just got to keep trying.
That's right.
Should have mounted that tree in the studio. Maybe next time. Maybe next time. But AJ, I thank you for joining me, man. We're at that 30-minute mark. I'm going to go ahead and cut it off and leave these guys with the story of missing. Um, that's all there is to it. You're gonna fail. You spend enough time in the woods, you're gonna fail. You're gonna get busted. You're gonna miss deer. All you can do is practice, and hope for the best. Better luck
Yeah, I
at the rest of
appreciate
the season.
Appreciate it. Appreciate you having me on here.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, we'll catch you guys next week. Adios.